Hello everyone, welcome to the second half of this higher paper walkthrough. So we're going through questions 11 to 21 here. Okay, so let's get started. So the first question is simultaneous equations. There are two methods to solve simultaneous equations, and the method I'm going to go for is elimination. So if you don't know what that is, don't worry, there'll be a video coming out soon on how to solve simultaneous equations using elimination. So what we need to do, so I'm just going to write out the two equations, okay? 2y equals 41, then we've got 4x plus 3y equals 11. So what we're going to do here is multiply the top and bottom by the coefficient on the other y. So here, there's 3 there, so we're going to multiply this equation by 3. We're going to multiply this equation by 2. Okay, so we have to multiply every single part of the equation like that. So once we've done that, we'll have 21x minus 6y equals 123. And underneath that, we will have 8x plus 6y equals 22. So the next step is this really simple. All we need to do is just combine the equations. So combine. Okay, so we have to combine. So when they're combined, we'll get, so we're adding them together. So we've got 29x, okay, 21 plus 8, and then we'll have not minus 6y plus 6y, which gives us 0y. So that's it there. Then we've got that equals 122 plus 123 plus 100 plus 22, which gives us 145. So then we just do some simple algebra to solve it. And so we get 145 divided by 29 is equal to 5. So we've got x equals 5. So that is the hardest bit out of the way. So that's how you find one of the values, and as soon as you find the one of the values, you can find the other. Because all we need to do is now put this stuff into the equation that we now know. So we've got 4 times 5, because that's 4x, and x is 5, plus 3y equals 11. Okay, so then we're going to have 20 plus 3y equals 11. Okay, then we can have 3y, because we're going to move the 20 over, equals negative 9. And then we're going to have y equals negative 9 divided by 3, which will give us negative 3. So our answers are, okay, x equals 5 and y equals negative 3. And that is how to solve simultaneous equations. And to make sure your answers are right, you can put them into both equations and you'll find out that they do work. Okay, so if you put them in your equations and they don't work, you know you've gone wrong somewhere. So x equals 5, y equals negative 3. Let's move on. That question is worth 4 marks, so it's pretty simple really to get those 4 marks if you know what to do. So question 12. ABCDE is a regular pentagon. AQE and ALB are straight lines. ALMNPQ is a hexagon with 2 angles of size y and 4 angles of size x. Work out the value of x. So the whole purpose of this question, okay, is to work out x. We've got x here, 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 and here. To do this though, we're going to have to work out y first, and this is a regular pentagon, which means that all the angles on the inside here are equal, so that means they're all y. So if we work out one of them, okay, if we work out one of these, we know what y is, and y is also here, so we know what this is and this is. Okay, that's the first step. So let's just do that. So the total angles, so total degrees, okay, in a shape equals the number of sides. So for the pentagon, it's 5 minus 2. Okay, so equals that. So this is our equation that you need to know. So total degrees equals number of sides minus 2 times 180. And the reason you do this is you minus 2 off it to find out how many triangles you can make in the shape, and you can clearly see that we can make 3 triangles in a pentagon. We've got 1 triangle, 2 triangles, 3 triangles. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we can make 3 triangles. So once we do that, we can do 3 times 180, which will tell us how many degrees are inside the pentagon. So 3 times 180, which will give you 540 degrees. Okay, now what we can do is divide that by 5, because there's 5 angles in there and they're all equal to y, and then that will give us 108 degrees. So we can now write y equals 108 degrees, and that is our final answer. Sorry, that's not a final answer, that's final answer for y, but now we need to work out x. So we can do the exact same thing to find out how many degrees are in the hexagon. Sorry. So what we're going to do is total degrees equals number of sides, which is 6 minus 2 times 180, and that will give us 6 minus 2 is 4 times 180 gives you 720 degrees inside the hexagon. So we've got 720 equals 4x, because there's 4x inside that shape, plus 2y. And then again, doing some simple algebra, we'll have 4x equals 720 minus 2y, but we know what y is. Y is 108, so we can do minus 108 minus 108, so then we'll get 4x, okay, equals 720 minus 108 minus 108, gives us 504. Okay, 504, and then we've got x equals 504 divided by 4 will give you 126 degrees, and that is our final answer. Well done if you've been following along. I should have pointed out that if you wanted to try any of these questions by yourself, just go ahead and pause the video and have a go. So that's another 4 marks. So we've got 8 marks so far for the second half. So question 13, solve 4x squared plus 6x minus 1 equals 0. Show you're working clearly. Give your solutions correct to 3 significant figures. So this is pretty simple. We just have to use the quadratic formula. So they give this to you in the formula book, by the way. So we've got x equals, let's go have a look at it actually. Okay, x equals, and then we've got a fraction. Okay, so here we go. X equals minus b, so let's just write it out here so it'll come with us. Minus b plus or minus, okay, the square root of b squared, okay, minus 4ac, and that is all over, okay, 2a, and then that is the quadratic formula or the quadratic equation. Okay, so let's go back to the question. Okay, so it's useful at this point, okay, to write out what a is, what b is, and what c is, because we need to know what those are to use the quadratic equation. Right, so let's write out what a, b, and c are. So a equals the coefficient on the x squared, which is 4. B equals the coefficient on the x, which is 6. And c equals the other number, which is -1 in this case. So putting this into our equation, okay, we can get minus b, so minus 6, okay. We're going to have minus 6 plus or minus. So this will give us 2 solutions, okay, one for the plus, one for the minus. The square root of b squared, so it's -6 squared, which just gives us 36. I'll just write 36 out here. Okay, and then we've got minus 4ac. So 4ac, 4 times 4, 16 times minus 1. So we've got minus 16, which gives us plus 16, okay? Hope you're following along. Okay, then we divide that by 2a, which is 8. Okay, so then simplifying that, okay, we'll get minus 6 plus or minus the square root of, okay, so put 36, so just add those two together underneath, which will give you 52. Okay, and then you divide that by 8. Okay, then put this into your calculator, once with the plus and once with the minus on the top, then you'll get two values. You'll get x equals and x equals. So when it is plus square root of 52, you should get, and by the way, you have to put this to three significant figures. Okay, you can see that there, three significant figures. So what you get here will be 0.151, and that's the three significant figures. And when it's minus on the top, okay, you will get negative 1.65, and they are our two answers. Okay, so this is really not that difficult. You just have to apply the quadratic equation. You might try to factorize, which is quite pretty much impossible here. So just remember, if it looks hard to factorize, use the quadratic equation, because that will always work for you here. So let's go on to the next question. Question 14. So question 14 is a circle question. D, E, F, and G are points on a circle center O. Angle GOE equals 98 degrees. Work out the sides of angle GFE. Give a reason for each stage of your working. So this is quite simple. There are two steps here because this is worth 4 marks. So 2 steps, and 2 marks for doing the step, and then 2 marks for giving reasons why. So what we need to do first of all, okay, we're going to work out this angle here, which will allow us to work out this angle. And this is the angle we're looking for here. This is the one we want. So if we work out this angle, we can work out that one. So what we're going to put is angle, okay, angle GDE, okay, which is this angle up here. Angle GDE equals 98 divided by 2 equals 49 degrees. Okay, and that is that angle here, 49 degrees. 49. So let's just write it in. Okay, and our reason for that is angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. Okay, so this angle in the middle is double the angle at the circumference, which is which is this all the way around here. That's the circumference. Sorry for the badly drawn line. Okay, so this angle is double that angle. Okay, so then that will be we'd have to write that down to get a mark, by the way, but I'm just going to leave it for now. So just make sure you put angle at the center is twice the angle at circumference. Okay, next part. We've got angle GFD, which is what we're looking for. Angle it's GFE. Angle GFE equals 180 minus 49 equals 131 degrees, and we have to give a reason for that 4th mark, so we get all the marks in this question. And our reason is opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral add up to 180 degrees. Okay, that's quite a mouthful, but basically all it means is the angle, two opposite angles in a shape that has 4 vertices on the edges of a circle. Okay, they add up to 180 degrees. So if we know what one is, we can work out the other by taking that way from 180 degrees. Hope that makes sense. If not, please leave any questions in the comments and I'll try to answer them as quickly as I can. Okay, so that's 4 marks. So question 15, part A. Write 2 over x minus 1 over x plus 3 as a single fraction in its simplest form. Okay, so this is pretty simple. There's a rule that we use. Okay, I'm going to write the rule down. So a over b. So in this case, a is 2 and b is x, but this works for any fractions like these. So a over b minus d over c. So we're just representing the numbers as letters, equals ad, okay, minus bc over BD. So that is our rule. And this is how we write it as a single fraction, and then we cancel down to get it into its simplest form. Okay, so let's do that. So on the top, we're going to have AD, which is A times D. So we're going to have 2 times x plus 3. X plus 3. Sorry about that, x is a bit dodgy. Okay. Terrible x, actually. let's just fix it. Okay, x plus 3, and then we've got minus bc, which is x times 1, which is just x. That's all over bd, which is x times x plus 3. Okay, so what we do now is expand the top and bottom, but I'll come to this in a second. So we've got 2x on the top plus 3 minus x. And on the bottom, we've got x squared plus 3x. Well, that is not simple. That is not the simplest form because we can't cancel down. So we're going to leave it, okay, in the unexpanded form, factorized. We're going to leave it like this because we cannot cancel down anymore. But on the top, we have some working still to do. Okay, so let's just write our answer down here. It's going to be 2x minus x, which is x plus 3, okay, over x bracket x plus 3. Okay, and that is our simplest fraction. All right, so let me just put in the fraction bar. So that is our answer, and that's 3 marks. That's not too hard. You just need to know this important rule here, show this step here, and then show this here. Okay, good job if you got that yourself. So let's move on to part B now. So simplify fully 9x squared, sorry about that, simplify fully 9x squared minus 4 over 3x squared minus 17x plus 10. So we're going to have to do some factorizing here. So let's do the top row first. So the top row, okay, we're going to use difference of 2 squares or dots. So when we've got this, okay, let me just we're going to factorize this as 3x minus 2, then we're going to have 3x plus 2. 2. Go ahead and expand that and see if that fits, and yes, it does. That would work because 3x times 3x gives us 9x squared. 3x times 2 will give us 6x. Negative 2 times 3x gives us negative 6x, so they cancel out. And we've got negative 2 times 2 gives us negative 4, which is right. So that's our answer for the top. Okay, I'll have a lesson on this, don't worry if you don't know how to do it. So for the bottom, we're going to have to do some more complex factorizing here. So we're going to have 3x on one side, and then we're going to have x here. So that will expand to 3x squared, which is what we want. And we need to get 17x, and we need to get positive 10. Okay, so we need to think of ways that can multiply to 17 and add to 10. Right. So let's just think of ways that multiply to negative 17. But we're also going to have to take into account this 3x, okay? So maybe that's not the best way to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and show you what I do. So we're going to have 3x minus 2, okay? Then in the other one, we're going to have x plus 5. Right. So if we expand that, will give us 3x squared plus, okay, that'll give us plus 15x. Right. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake here. It's going to be minus that. It's going to be minus both. That's going to be minus 15x and minus 2, which gives us negative 17x, and then we've got plus 10. So we've got a positive we've got a positive number here without an x. Then we know that both of these are going to be either both negative or both positive. But because we've got this negative, we know it's going to be, they're both going to be negative. Okay, so the top is going to be 3x minus 2. Remember, this is what we got from the dots. And we've got 3x plus 2. Okay, that's the top. Then on the bottom, okay, we've got 3x minus 2. And then we've got x minus 5. Okay, let me just get a fraction bar in. Okay, that equals, what can we do now? What can we do? We have to simplify it fully. So what have we got on the top and bottom that are the same? Well, we've got 3x minus 2 on the top and bottom, so we can literally just get rid of both of those. That will give us a final answer of 3x plus 2 on the top over x minus 5. So basically, there's only really 3 steps here. Factorize the top, factorize the bottom, and then cancel down. And it's 3 marks, so 1 mark per step. So let us continue to the next question. So this is a question with a triangle. So question 16, work out the area of angle of triangle PQR. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So this is not a right angled triangle, so don't get tricked into thinking that. Okay, there's no right angles in this. There's 2 rules we're going to have to use here. Okay, the sine rule and the area of a triangle rule with sine. So the sine rule. Okay, so we've got sine of A, sine of A, so capital A means an angle, little a means a side, and then we've got sine of B, big B, to make sure it's an angle. So we're trying to work out an angle here, okay? I'm going to write both formulas down just so you can see why we need this angle. So the area formula equals area equals 1/2 or 0.5, okay, AB sine C. What we need here is 2 sides and an angle that has nothing to do with those sides. So we've got 2 sides, okay? This angle here is with this side. The angle we're going to work out is this angle, okay? We're going to work out this angle from this equation. So this is going to be B. And if we work out both these, we can then work out this angle, okay? Which can be C, because we don't have this side. We do not have this side here. Okay. So let's get started by using the sine rule. So sine A, this is, let's just label, this is big A, this angle. This is little a side. This is big B angle. This is little b side. This is big C, little c, sorry. Oh, it's too big. This is little c. This is big C, and that's why we don't need this, because we need to have one angle that we don't have the side for, to use that. So we're going to have sine of A. Sine of A is sine of 78. Sine of 78 over A, which is over 18.5. Okay, 18.5, and that equals, okay, sine B, which is unknown, so we're just going to leave it as sine B. This is what we want to work out, over B, which is 12.7. So what we need to do first is multiply the top. We need to multiply both sides by 12.7, okay, which will cancel out this, cancel that out, cancel that out, and then multiply that side by 12.7. Okay, so that will give us sine of B. Okay, that'll give us sine of B. Okay, let's just put that into our calculators. So we've got sine of 78 over 18.5. Okay, and then we'll multiply that by 12.7. That gives us sine of B equals 0.67. So the next step is to use inverse sine. So we're going to have big B, which is what we're looking for, equals inverse sine of 0.67. But you should pop what you got straight from this calculation, because it's not exactly 0.67. Okay, so I'll give you more accuracy. So that is equal to sine -1 of, so we got 42, okay, 42.18. So I'm just going to write that down now. Big B equals 42.18 degrees. Okay, so now we know that, we can work out big C. So big C is equal to, remember, all angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. It's going to be minus 78 minus 42.18. And that gives us big C is 59.82. That is our answer for that. So now we can use the second equation to get our final answer. So we're going to have area, okay, area equals 0.5 times A, which we've established as 18.5, times B, which we've established as 12.7, times sine of C, which is 59.82. Okay, and then put that into our calculator, and that will give us our final answer. So just put this into your calculator and see if you get the same answer as I do. So that will give us an answer of 101.55, but it's asking for 3 significant figures, so you get 102 centimeters squared as our final answer. And great job if you got that. That's quite a tricky question. You have to apply the sine rule and then the area of a triangle rule. That's 4 marks. So question 17, rationalize the denominator of this surd. 6 plus square root of 10 divided by square root of 2. Okay, so something that you could do here is put that straight in your calculator to know what your end goal is. But what I like to do is work it out first and then see if I got it right by putting it into the calculator, and then find out where I went wrong. So what we have to do is rationalize the denominator. So step 1 is multiply the top and bottom of this surd by the denominator, which is root 2 in this instance. So multiply by root 2 on the top. So that's a little dot there for multiply, by the way, over root 2. So remember, when a root is times by itself, you get the number inside the root, so that will just give us 2 on the bottom. And on the top, okay, we'll get 2 times root 6, which give us 6 root 2, okay, 6 root 2. And then we'll get root 10 times root 2. Can you tell me what that is? Okay, root 10 times root 2. What is that? Okay, it's 2 root 5 when you simplify it, sorry. 2 root 5. And then all we have to do now to get the final answer and the final mark is to divide the top and bottom by 2 to get 3 root 2. Okay, 3 root 2 plus root 5. And that is in the right form we were looking for. Remember, we got AB. So AB plus C, we wanted it to be like this. And these are our numbers, and they're all prime numbers. That's right. Okay. And then put that whole thing into your calculator. Just put the whole thing straight into your calculator now. And let's see what we get. We get root 5 plus 3 root 2. And that is right. So we know we got it right. And we've proved how. Okay, so great job with that question. Quite straightforward, really. It's just proof. So, question 18, differentiation. So, a particle moves along a straight line. The fixed point O lies on this line. The displacement of the particle from O at time t seconds, t is less than or equal 1, is s meters, where s equals 3 plus 1 over t. At time t seconds, the velocity of the particle is vm meters per second. So this looks quite scary, but we just have to apply the basic rule. So we've got, oh, come on, let's just get rid of that. So we've got dy over dx, which is just what we write to show differentiation, equals. So we're using n and x as our numbers here. We've got n x to the power of n minus 1. Okay, so what that's showing us is we're taking the power, bringing it down here, and then taking it down by 1. So what you need to remember is that normal numbers just get knocked out in differentiation. So what we're going to have is here dy over dx, okay, dy over dx equals, first of all, let's change 1 over t, okay, so it's not a fraction, so it's a power. So 1 over t is the same as t to the power of -1. So if we bring -1 down, because that's the n here, so we've got -1t, or just negative t, to the power of -1 minus 1, which gives us -2. So then they generally prefer us to put this back into fraction form, so we're going to get -1 over t. And how do we turn t to the power of -1 into a fraction? Well, we just do the opposite. We do t squared underneath. Okay, so that is our equation. Okay, -1 divided by t squared. So let's just do part B. Find the acceleration of the particle at time 6 seconds. Okay, so all you have to do here, okay, is we have to do differentiation again. They're asking us to do differentiation one more time because we worked out the expression for v in terms of t. Well, if we differentiate this thing all over again, okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to erase everything now except for our formula for v, because we're going to have to fix that now by making it an acceleration one. So what we have to do is differentiate it again, okay, because this is for v, which stands for speed, and to get it to a, which stands for acceleration, we have to differentiate again. So differentiating this again, we'll get, let's just write it as a non-fraction form, which we had above, as 1 over -t to the power of 2 minus 2. That should be the other way around. Okay, let me just write -2. Okay, so we'll differentiate that. So with -2 times -1 gives us 2t to the power of -3. Okay, so then what we're going to get is 2 over t to the power of 3. Okay, but this step is actually pretty unnecessary. You could do that, or you could just stick 6 straight into the equation here. Sorry about that time wasting there. I wasn't sure where I was going, but then just figured it out. So then what we have to do is that 2 times 6 to the power of -3, which will give us our answer. And the answer is 1 over 108 meters per second squared, which is the units for acceleration. Okay, that is the answer. So that's the differentiation question. Most students find that quite tricky, but it's a piece of cake if you know how to do it. Oh yes, so question 19. The diagram shows a container made from a cylinder and a cone. The container has a vertical axis of symmetry. Okay, the cylinder has a height 20 centimeters and a radius 15 centimeters. The cone has a height 18 centimeters and a base radius of 15 centimeters. So it's just basically telling us the information about this shape. There are 9 liters of water in the container. Work out the height of this surface of water in the container above the vertex of the cone. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So basically, what we need to do is work out how high. So this is a container. We're filling it with water. We're putting 9 liters of water in it. How high does the water go? Like how high up here? Okay. So first of all, we need to write. We're working in centimeters cubed here. Okay, not liters. So we've got 9 liters equals 9,000 centimeters cubed, and you just need to memorize that. 9 centimeters cubed, 900 centimeters cubed. Okay, so what we need to do now, okay, is work out the volume. So let's just write down the equations. So these are both given to you in the formula sheet. We've got volume of cone, which is our bottom thing. Volume of cone equals pi r squared. So I'm just going to put pi r r squared. So pi r squared, that looks a bit weird. I'm going to put a bracket around pi just to show that it's pi. Okay, so we've got pi r squared. That's our equation, times height as well, times height. Okay, so that's that equation, and then we can have volume of cylinder that equals 1/3, okay, 1/3 times pi times r squared, which is the radius, times height. Okay, so there are our two equations. So now we're going to work out the volume of the cone, of our cone here. So volume of cone equals pi. So let's just do 3.14. You can put that into your calculator as normal pi though, like if you have a pi button. So times r squared. So we've got r squared is 15 here. So we've got 15 squared times height, okay, which is 18 centimeters. And that will give us a volume of, so let me just put that into my calculator, pi times 15 squared times 18 gives us 4,050 pi centimeters cubed, or, okay, what we need to do next is, oh sorry, I made a mistake here with the formulas actually. So this is actually the formula of the cone. So this is wrong, and then we'll have, okay, this is wrong. This is the formula of the cone. These are the wrong ways around. Sorry about that. And a cylinder. That other one's the cone. So we've actually just worked out the formula. Okay, so that's cone. So I'm just going to erase this here. So let's work out the volume of cone. Really sorry about that, guys. Volume of cone equals 1/3 times pi, okay, which is 3.14, times radius cubed, which is 15 squared, sorry, times height, which is 18. Pop that all into your calculator, okay. That will give you 1,350 pi, or 4,241.2 centimeters cubed. Okay, so the next step is to take away what we've just found from 9,000. So what we're doing here is basically just finding how much water goes above the cone, how much volume of water goes above the cone. So just put that into your calculator, and you should get 4,758.8. Okay, so that's how much goes above. All right, so we now need to work out the volume of the cylinder. So the volume of the cylinder is pi, which is 3.14. Sorry about the mix-up again earlier. Times radius, which is 15 squared, times height, which is 20. Okay, so putting that into your calculator, it will give you 15 squared times 20 gives you 4,500 pi, or 14,137. Okay, so 14,000, let's just write that down, 14,137.16694 centimeters cubed. Okay, that is how much, that's the volume of the cylinder. If we now take away how much is gone over into the cylinder, so we can find out how much of the cylinder is full. So minus this, okay, minus r what's it called, 4,758.8. Okay, minus that. And what we can do now is just put this straight into brackets, okay? And what we can do is multiply this by the length here, which will work out the length of how high it goes up this thing, okay? So work up how high it goes up that thing, the cylinder, sorry, not that thing. So let's just put that into our calculator, and that will give us 6.4 centimeters. So it goes up 6.4 of this, 6.7, sorry, 6.7, and then we have to add that onto the 18 because it's already past this whole entire thing, which will give us an answer of 24.7 centimeters, and that is how high it goes. Sorry if that was confusing. I tripped up a few times there with the equations. If you need me to explain this in more detail, just please ask in the comments. Right, so let's go on to question 20. We're almost done now. So there are 9 counters in a bag. There is a number on each counter. There's 3 2s, 6 5s. Lev takes at random 3 counters from the bag. He adds together the numbers on 3 counters to get his total. Calculate the probability that his total is an odd number. So out of this thing here, there are 3 ways to get odd numbers. Okay, 2. So he's multiplying his things together. So the 3 ways to get an odd number is 2 times 2 times 5. Okay, that gives us an odd number, which gives us, okay, that will give us an odd number. And that's 1. Let me just put that there. So that'll give us, okay, so sorry guys, that was a mistake. Okay, so what we need to do here is actually not that. So what I said a second ago was what we have to do, but I said it slightly wrong. We have to work out the ways you can make even numbers, and then we're going to take that away from 1. So there's 3 ways to make an even number here. 2 times 2 times 5. Okay. Then there's, so basically what we can do is have 5 in each space. Okay. Then we're going to have 5 here. 5 times 2 times 5. So we can, okay, 5. So what's going to happen here is we're going to work out the probabilities of this happening. So 2 times 2 times 5, well, what that will give us is 3/9, okay, because we're not replacing anything, just remember that. So the probability of getting a 2 first, 3/9 times getting a 2 second, so it's going to be 2/8, then getting a 5. Well, there's 6 5s, so it's going to be 6 7ths, okay, so that is our first thing, okay, and that is equal to, so 3/9 times 2/8 times 6 7ths. Okay, so what we can do now is multiply that by 3. Well, we'll just find out that gives us, okay, that gives us 1/14. Okay, 3/9 times 2/8 times 6/7. There is one more way you can make an even number, by the way, and we're going to have to use that as well. But there's 3 ways. The 3 ways to do it with a 5 and 2 2s, and that will give us 3/14. This is quite a tricky question anyway, so don't worry if you can't get this yourself. Okay, so that's that. But then there's also another way. We can make an even number by going 5 5 5. Okay, so that will give us an even number as well. If you don't know why, just put that into your calculator and you'll clearly see. So that's for these 3, by the way. So now we need to do 5 5 5. So first of all, we've got 6 out of 9. Then we're going to have 5 out of 8. Then we're going to have 4 out of 7. Add those together, and that will simply give you, okay, 6/9 times 5/8 times 4/7, which will give you 5 over 21. So what we can do now is add this to this, but what we're going to do is not actually add them together. We're just going to have them as like one part. So this is the probability of it being an even number. So what we can do is do 1 minus that to work out the probability of it being an odd number. Okay, so just put that into your calculator, and that will give you an answer. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake here. So let's do 5 over 21 plus 3 over 14. So I'll give you 19 over 42. It's probably easier just to write it out like this, just to make sure that the examiners know you're understanding what's going on. So that is the probability of it being an even number. Okay, so if we take that away from 1, we will get an answer of, so 1 minus that, which will give us 23 over 42. And that is our final answer. Sorry if that was a bit confusing. It's quite a tricky question, to be honest. But it is definitely worthwhile to learn how to do it because it's worth quite a few marks. Complex probability, okay, 4 marks for that. So the final question, f is the function such as f of x is 3 minus 2x. A, find f of -4. So let's just quickly do this. So let's put -4 into wherever x is. So 2 times -4, which will give 4, okay, which will give you 3 minus 8. So we're going to have 3 plus 8, which gives us 11, okay? So our answer is 11. Next part, express the inverse function f minus 1 in the form of f minus 1 of x. So what we need to do here is basically just put y equals 3 minus 2x, okay? Then we have to try to make x the subject of the equation. So what we're going to do is move x over and then move y over. So we're going to have equals 3 minus y, and then we're going to divide by 2, okay? And then we'll just change the y back into an x. Okay, so what we can, this is our final answer here, 3 minus x over 2. And that is 2 marks for that. Quite simple, that one as well. So, next part, part C. Solve the equation g(f) of x equals ff of x, okay? So, show clear algebraic working. So this is algebra. So, g(f) of x. So that is going to be, I'm just going to use all this space up here, okay? g(f) of x. So that means f of x stuck into g of x, okay? So we're going to have to stick f of x, which is this thing up here. So we've got 3 minus 2x into the x is in g of x. So that's going to be that squared minus 5. So that is g(f) of x, okay? So expanding that fully and then simplifying, I'm just going to give this to us because we're running out of time. Give us 4x squared minus 12x plus 4, okay? So that is g(f) of x. So basically we're just expanding this like a normal quadratic, and then we've got the -5 in addition. So that's 4x squared minus 12x plus 4. And we do the same process for f of x. So f of x is going to be 3 minus 2 of 3 minus 2x, okay? 2x, sorry about that, 3. So that equals 3 minus 6 plus 4x, okay? Which is equal to 4x minus 3. So let's now write it out as the equation. So we've got g(f) of x, which is 4x squared minus 12x, okay, and then we've got plus 4 is equal to, plus 4 is equal to 4x minus 3. So we're just going to move everything from the left to the right to the left. So we're going to have 4x squared minus 16x, okay, minus 7 equals 0. So now we've just got a normal quadratic. And using the quadratic formula, I've already shown you how to do this in this lesson. So I'm just going to give you the answers here. So we're going to have x equals 0.5, and then we've got x equals 3.5. So you just need to put these, this is A, this is B, this is C, into the quadratic formula, and then you'll get these two answers. And that is the final answer for that. Okay, well done. Okay, so let's go down, and that is the end of this exam. So that was 100 marks this whole exam. I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments. Please like this video and subscribe if you thought it was helpful. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.